work of each of the departments. It's not just boards and committees, but even departments, right?
Even if we just met once a year, like all together.
What do you
All the
say?
committees.
All the committees,
Oh,
all the,
us, I
like
would
have a
miss you.
workshop.
No.
Have a Ken party or what?
No, I don't mean us. I
Oh.
mean, if
She
all
means
of the
everybody.
committees and us and, I don't know who all it would be,
It would
but
be like a big conference workshop. Like, this is the town of Saugerties.
All hands meeting about the comp plan and where things stand with your particular.
yeah.
And what
or
did
just
you,
what everybody's
you
doing
doing?
in general.
yeah, that would be interesting.
Mhm.
It would be like, we've had things like that when we've done, sort of workshops to introduce people to concepts like the, we did it when we were doing the wetlands law. We had like a, open thing where everybody came and there was some lectures and some charts and things like that. And we did it also for,
Charrettes,
what?
charrettes.
Is that what it's called?
Well,
Charrettes.
that's,
Yeah, and then we did it again for the, we had the,
the wetland.
we did it for the wetlands, and we did it for the, which I would like the Conservation Advisory Committee to take up again, because the state would like us to mirror what they had in the town, because it makes it a lot easier to enforce if the towns have the same.
And are they working on it?
You should start
No.
going to their meetings, Susan, and report back to us on that.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna kind of take that one on, I think.
That's a good idea.
What is,
But we worked very hard for a period of time on a wetlands law. That
we
was-
who?
This
We,
committee,
this committee.
Okay.
that we wanted to become part of the town, right?
Mm.
And it was at a time when there wasn't any support from the state, really. They were way behind. Now they caught up and they basically have passed laws in the state that mirror pretty much what we had suggested, but go even further.
Yeah.
For instance, we don't recognize, Saugerties is full of wetlands. Wetlands are recognized as extremely valuable for lots of reasons, recharge, water table recharge, all kinds of stuff. Flora, fauna, there's some species that are maybe not endangered, but of special interest that belong to the wetlands and stuff like turtles, certain turtles and wood frogs and things like that. And we had, and also there was a lot that could be done to mitigate pollution by having buffer zones, things like that.
Mhm.
And so we had included in the wetland law a very minimal, because we knew people would be very opposed to pretty much anything. And it was very minimal, but we mentioned vernal pools. And that caused a huge uproar.
Well, I have a different vision. I think we refused to compromise at all on that, and that's why we lost out completely.
No, but we did compromise.
It
We
wasn't
did
minimal,
not.
and we did not compromise.
We did.
No, we
We
didn't.
said we would
That's
have
only
only
your
advisory.
opinion.
We even went so far as to say we would have a wetlands advisor just point out that here's a vernal pool and you might wanna
Right.
consider.
And that
It
was
wasn't
back-
anything strict at all.
That the town was way smaller then, and Spider
That's
was
true,
volunteering to do that,
to do
and
that, yeah, I know, and we don't have that now.
no.
But, in any case, what the state did is the state, actually passed laws that, big part of that was all of our wetlands didn't fall under the 12.5 acre size that the feds recognize as a protected wetland. So basically, none of our wetlands are protected. We wanted to protect them, right, to protect the wetlands if we could. And, now the state has totally protected wetlands. So what the state would like the towns to do, and this is at least in the past, what they want the towns to do is to pass laws that reflect the state restrictions so that they have help enforcing, basically.
I'm not sure that all of those were actually passed as laws by the state.
Yeah.
I think that the DEC has taken them on as suggestions, and
No.
that they're used in secret.
There was a
There are laws now.
there was a revamp of the wetlands regulations, I think.
Designation.
And now now
Last
much
year,
smaller wetlands are designated as
Right.
protected, and there's buffer zones that are bigger than the ones we suggested. That
They're
are,
different.
but in any case, there's a lot there, and I mean, I went to a couple of workshops about the state
Right.
changes. And it would be great if we could reflect them in a town, in Saugerties in a town, because there's a
Okay,
lot
I
of.
mean, seems like kind of a different topic though than what
That seems
what
like a
this
zoning
committee,
amendment, which we're no longer working on.
like this
Well,
committee
that's-
doesn't, this committee doesn't necessarily, or no, this committee isn't, tasked to develop,
The agenda.
well,
We
develop
already
law,
did
like,
that, we already did develop.
What you can do is through the work of reviewing the comp plan,
Mhm.
you can
Make
see any
suggestions.
deficiencies even in our zoning code, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be in the day-to-day actions of the boards and committees, because they, you know,
But you almost have
like you
to-
said, the planning board, we just talked about the planning board is acting, according to the zoning law. You know, it is responding to applications according to the zoning law. But if this committee, finds some deviation from, in the zoning law from what the comp plan intends, and if it's identified in here as an implementation goal,
There's natural resource protection. I don't know if we got there yet.
Yeah.
Was
No, I
eight.
don't. No, we
then
didn't
you
get
do,
there.
you do have the opportunity for the communication outward to be, hey, I don't think our zoning law is consistent, can we
Or do we
agree-
even have one?
right,
we
whatever
don't
the,
at
whatever
this
the
point.
case, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But, you know, that kind of review of status of implementation
Mhm.
could pop up a lot of potential zoning, you know, proposed zoning updates
Yeah.
for conformance,
Yeah.
which would be like a whole project just to go through and do that work. And I'm sure that it wouldn't just be like, okay, there are 40, whatever the number of recommendations from this committee for zoning changes. We'll get right to that. No, it would be reviewed, prioritized, discussed, you know, and there would be like a gelling of like the essential 1, 2, 3 or whatever, you know. I'm just sort of, I'm imagining that's what could come out of that kind of review process, but it would still be really productive to unearth those things, because this.
Oh, I
Yeah.
definitely think that we should continue going
Yeah.
through the comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
One vote
I'm
at
a little
time.
confused, like you guys you probably know, what's the difference between, like, when you have something like the, a wetlands law that a town passes, and Woodstock's passed one, New Paltz's passed one, a whole bunch of towns around it passed them. Ours didn't get passed. We have a wetlands law, a wetlands protection law. How's that different from zoning, or is it
That is zoning.
That is zoning?
Yeah.
Okay, even though it's not
If the law pertains to land use,
Yeah,
it
it's-
goes
that is zoning.
into the zoning code, and it is zoning.
Okay, so it has to be incorporated into the zoning law, but
Yeah.
it is a separate law that's passed by the town.
Yeah, it has the form of a local law.
Yeah.
That's voted on, and then that local law becomes either
Part of the
an
zoning.
update to zoning or a whole new section, or, you know, whatever the case may
Okay.
be.
Because Rich isn't here, I feel I should check and see if we should return to the mission.
You're a good fill-in.
Thank you, Laura.
Let 'em know
Yeah.
you did so.
Do you wanna read?
Not that
what
these
we
aren't
have so
important
far?
topics,
We have a lot.
but we don't have that much time, and are we trying to get the mission together
Wait,
tonight at least?
It would
to
be good to get that
to
over with.
have something.
We have been talking about it for the
Okay,
last
so
while.
I would, all of our sort of draft statements have been one sentence, and it seems like there should be a preface. I think you mentioned like, here's a state of things, and here is what we intend to do about them, maybe as a structure. So the first sentence we haven't talked about could be, the comprehensive plan contains implementation goals and strategies, that are meant to be, actionable.
Mhm.
So maybe it's something like the CPC guides the implementation
Yeah.
of the plan, however
Yeah.
you just said it,
Yeah.
but.
So
Yeah.
that's a version of what, you know, that would sort of set the stage for, like, this is the condition, and then how the committee would function relative to that.
To support the implementation of the comprehensive plan. Supply proactive feedback and guidance to various committees. Yeah, all those are good.
And then, did you wanna work on that first sentence? Were you proposing that, or did you get something?
I was suggesting something like that, just as a
Right.
I
That's
missed
good.
what Katie said, I did hear, so you said the comprehensive plan contains implementation goals and strategies that are meant to be actionable.
That's good.
And what did you say?
I said something along the lines of like the CPC sort of put us in it, we guide the implementation of, you know, the comprehensive plan and serve the residents of the town. So that, you know, who we are in relation to the plan, that's what our committee is,
Okay,
Do we,
however you wanna word that, but.
we review, let's see, I like Bob's supply proactive feedback and guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Put them both together.
I wonder if we could just get everything
that-
down.
Right, and then kind of make a few
And then we
cohesive
can
sentences.
even take time to review it and bring it back.
Yeah.
Cause it's hard for
Good
me to.
idea.
think on
Adriana
my-
suggested that we use the whiteboard.
It's not a bad idea to put
Good
some notes
idea.
up there and then everybody can formulate sentences, like some bullet points,
Where's the, there,
things we really like.
Now we're being comprehensive again.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad
Quick,
to take all
everybody
those
look.
bullet points and then everybody kind of take a few minutes to jot their thoughts now or next time, but, and then you can kind of read out loud what you came up with. But it's hard, like you
Should I
said,
do
to
this?
just,
Should I do this?
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
sure.
Yeah, that would
then
be
we can
great.
see it.
Thanks,
Okay.
Stephanie.
Can I ask why we're being recorded and where it's going to go?
Well, it is the open meeting law, and it's the right of the citizens of the community to record.
No,
And
I understand that.
Let me finish. So I post everything I record. I post it publicly, without comment, and anybody who wants to see it can see it.
Where do you post it?
I post it on a YouTube channel.
What channel?
The channel's called Socrates Eye.
Socrates EYE?
Yep.
Cool, thank you.
I filmed for about, just to fill you in, I did do it for about several years for TV 23 until I had to stop doing it. And now I do it for myself.
Cool, thank you.
I'm not writing proactive because it seems a little jargony. But we can discuss.
I resemble everyone.
feedback and guidance
Yeah, always said.
to town committees and projects to ensure compliance.
Well, usually I'm brainstorming.
Yeah, it's a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Then sleep on it, think about it for a while, and talk about it again.
Can anyone read this?
Yeah,
You're gonna have to
Pretty
read
well.
it to us.
To support the implementation of the comprehensive plan within the town and other,
Boards
Boards
and
and
committees.
committees.
There's still one chocolate with
To supply feedback
sleep if
and
I
guidance to
Might be more
facilitate
Committee.
communication within the town.
Mhm.
To keep alive the comprehensive plan.
I don't like this one because it says of it, but I'm just gonna write it down.
That's fine, we can wordsmith it later.
Yep.
I'm adding departments here because we talked about,
oh yeah, the rec
Right.
department. Is that a committee or a department? Or a department, the rec? It's a committee, right?
It's both.
Okay,
It's two different things.
okay.
It's a committee and a department.
I feel like the other sort of versions of this were just sort of mashing up unless I missed one.
The
Pretty big
CPC
things.
guides the implementation of the goal and strategies of the comp plan.
Okay. To guide the implementation of the goals and strategies.
Yes.
And strategies of the comp plan. Yeah, that's good, that's enough.
Of
The
the
CP.
CP.
sake.
Was there anything else?
Okay.
The only other thing I was, oh, sorry.
Yeah, go.
Go ahead.
The only other thing I was wondering about, because Stephanie, you had mentioned, and I remember when we were reviewing last year, the communications to the town piece, like, could we talk about that at all, and should we include anything about that?
I was thinking that fourth bullet, something about communication.
Yeah.
Would probably
Stephanie,
be
because you had
important.
mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, I think, that
The
somebody
third
on,
bullet, I guess I should say.
some other
How to
members had
communicate.
seen value in
Yeah,
some kind of communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So should we include, like, what would
Provide
that?
interpersonal communication.
That would be-
How about collaborate with residents and stakeholders?
Well, that's a big word. Yes, everybody.
That would require
Or is-
having
Collaborate with the committee.
large meetings
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a
with the
big
public.
job, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm
Okay.
curious about it.
but if you,
I mean, we could,
Collaborate with
we
the
could do
other-
it without putting it in our mission if that's what we chose.
yeah, I mean, if
I
you
don't-
think about this, I mean, I feel like these are 4 different ways of saying it, right?
Mhm.
Right.
So, taking the best of, like, trying to take the best, like, the most clear
Mhm.
language out of these.
By making a couple sentences.
Yeah. So this, I'll use a different color. It's kind of rhetorically
This,
nice, but I think it's a little
Yeah, we could,
loosey-goosey.
yep, we could get rid of that one.
and supply feedback and guidance to facilitate committee communication within the town. I sort of liked, supply feedback and guidance to ensure compliance or to
Well, suppose we started with the
ensure compliance.
CPC's
with the-
mission is to guide the implementation of the goals and strategies of the CP,
Mhm.
of the comprehensive plan.
Mhm.
And then
That's a great
add
first
after
sentence.
that to supply feedback and guidance
Mhm.
to facilitate.
To
By
guide,
supply.
the implementation of the goals and strategies of the comprehensive plan
And then,
by
Providing.
communicating with
Feedback and
Through
by-
effective
by
other
supplying
boards,
feedback
committees and
guidance.
departments.
or just make that one sentence and start a new sentence.
Yeah, maybe like the
Yeah, like by
CPC
supplying
guides the
feed-
implementation of the goals and strategies of the comprehensive plan,
Yeah.
period.
To make it,
And then,
to-
yeah, go
to
on
make
with
it
the
an
communication.
action.
Mhm.
guides the implementation of the goals and strategies of the comprehensive plan by communicating,
By supplying feedback and guidance.
supplying.
You could even put
To,
communication and feedback is facilitated or whatever it is to the town and boards and other committees, kind of combine a couple of those.
The CPC guides the implementation of the goals and strategies of the comprehensive plan
To provide,
By
to
reiterating,
by
by providing guidance, no,
by reviewing. Well, I don't know if this gets maybe too much into how
Yeah.
how you do it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say by reviewing status of implementation and communicating to, but that's, I think that kind of is
Yeah.
too narrow.
Narrow.